Meghan Markle has won a big legal battle after almost 3 years of going back and forth with Brittan's Mail Online publication. The tabloid has accepted defeat and printed a front-page legal notice announcing Meghan Markle's court win over them. The December 26th edition featured a court-ordered headline that confirmed the Duchess of Sussex's victory. The headline for Mail Online reads, "The Duchess of Sussex wins her legal case for copyright infringement against Associated Newspapers for articles published in the Mail on Sunday and posted on Mail Online." In the legal ruling, the judge ordered the publisher to pay out damages of $1.88 million for legal costs, and this is after the publisher posted a number of images from a private handwritten letter that Meghan had sent to her father back in 2018. Within this recent court-ordered correction, the Mail Online also had to post the summary judgment that they originally received 6 months prior. You see, they tried to appeal the ruling but failed in the UK's Court of Appeals. In the report, it states, "Following a hearing on January 19th to the 20th, 2021, and a further hearing on May 5th, 2021, the court has given judgment for the Duchess of Sussex on her claim for copyright infringement. The court found that Associated Newspapers infringed her copyright by publishing extracts of her handwritten letter to her father in the Mail on Sunday and in Mail Online. Financial remedies have been agreed." And many people were also quick to call out Mail Online for how they decided to publish this apology. One user writes, "Meghan Markle won, but the Fail on Sunday tried to hide the front page statement the judge ordered them to print as a footnote on a low circulation day. So the #Sussex Squad created alternative front pages." According to some, Boxing Day is historically one of the quietest news days of the year, with usually the smallest newspaper sales. On top of that, another user commented on the news, noticed something interesting and tweeted, "Tucked away in the top left corner of page 3 is the court-ordered short report the Mail on Sunday were required to print following Duchess Meghan's High Court win in May. In his judgment summary, Judge Lord Justice Warby dictated the exact wording and font size to be used. Many believe that the publisher was hoping for their failure to fly under the radar, but it ended up trending on Twitter under the #Meghan Markle won. There were over 25,000 tweets of just people talking about the news publication's loss and Meghan Markle's win. Regardless of the font size that they chose to admit their mistakes with, this is a step in the right direction for people who care about their rights to privacy. I know this is Meghan Markle, so she should have a reasonable expectation of her privacy being non-existent, which is sad, but cases like this actually help set an example for others who perhaps have their life blasted in the media. The courts in the UK found that Mail on Sunday and Mail Online publications had breached Meghan's privacy with 5 articles. Each of those articles reproduced large amounts of the letter that she had sent to her father, Thomas Markle. The publisher tried to fight back with appeals, but on December 2nd, 3 judges dismissed their argument and added, "The Duchess had a reasonable expectation of privacy in the contents of the letter. Those contents were personal, private, and not matters of legitimate public interest." And Meghan later responded to her double win in court and said, "A victory not just for me, but for anyone who has ever felt scared to stand up for what's right," adding, "The courts have held the defendant to account, and my hope is that we all begin to do the same. Because as far removed as it may seem from your personal life, it's not. Tomorrow it could be you. These harmful practices don't happen once in a blue moon. They are a daily fail that divide us, and we all deserve better." Today, royal family news, Meghan Markle could be called in to testify against Prince Andrew. David Boyce, who is the attorney representing Virginia Roberts Giuffre in her civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew, says that Meghan is somebody who they can count on to tell the truth. Now, for those of you who don't know, Prince Andrew was accused by Virginia Giuffre of SA that happened when she was 17 years old. However, the prince has constantly denied any wrongdoing, but if this case goes to trial, the Duchess of Sussex may be called in to testify. The attorney representing Virginia goes on to say, "1, she is in the US, so we have jurisdiction over her. 2, she is somebody who obviously, at least for a period of time, was a close associate of Prince Andrew, and hence is in a position to perhaps have seen what he did, and perhaps if not, to have seen what he did, to have heard people talk about it. Because of her past association with him, she may very well have important knowledge, and will certainly have some knowledge." He then goes on to add, 3, she is somebody who we can count on to tell the truth. She checks all 3 boxes. So far, though, no representation for Meghan Markle has returned the media's request for comment. However, she may not be the only person in the royal family that could be deposed. The Duke of York's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, and his siblings, which include Prince Charles, are all potential royal family members that could be called in to testify. The attorney adds, "We would likely take 1 or 2 depositions of people close to Andrew who would have knowledge of his actions. That might include his ex-wife, it could possibly be his brother. That being said, Prince Andrew's mother, Queen Elizabeth, is most likely not going to be called upon out of respect and her age. According to Virginia Giuffre, she is alleging that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew 3 times between 1999 and 2002 in London, New York, and on a private Caribbean island that was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. In all 3 cases, Epstein had some involvement in the pair meeting. Epstein was serving time in prison for sex trafficking charges when he was found deceased in his cell in August of 2019. 2 months following his death, Prince Andrew did this BBC interview that was supposed to clear up the relationship that he had with Mr. Epstein, and at the same time he was also going to address the allegations against him. However, when the news anchor questioned him on the photo that he took with his arm around Virginia's waist, he claimed to have no recollection of the photo. The photo was believed to have been taken inside the London home of Ghislaine Maxwell on March 10, 2001, and in response to seeing the picture, Prince Andrew said, "I don't remember that photograph ever being taken. I don't remember going upstairs in the house because that photograph was taken upstairs, and I am not entirely convinced that I would describe as me in that picture, but we can't be certain as to whether or not that's my hand on her, whatever it is, left side." And that interview received so much backlash from the public that he would later announce that he was stepping back from his public duties. Although the most bizarre thing about that interview was when he claimed that he didn't sweat or doesn't sweat.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was, oh, actually, yes.
You see, one of the pieces of evidence that Virginia had put forth was that she and Prince Andrew were dancing together at a London nightclub, and she noticed that he was dripping from sweat. However, Prince Andrew maintains that the photo was doctored or faked, if you will, and then explained how he got this rare condition where he never sweats. He goes on to say, "There's a slight problem with the sweating. I have a peculiar medical condition. I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I am starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it." Meghan Markle recently appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and so she did the usual skits that most guests sign up for when coming on that show. Ellen had her do the Ellen in Your Ears segment where she speaks to Meghan through a discreet earpiece and directs her to prank random people. Meghan went right along with it as well and did a variety of strange things such as eating chips like a chipmunk and dancing to a song about cats. The Ellen interview comes 8 months after she and Harry appeared in a bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey. The biggest moment from that interview was when Meghan said that a member of the royal family had actually asked what Archie's skin tone would be, although for the Ellen interview it wasn't exactly as hard-hitting as that Oprah conversation. Now the controversy here though comes after Meghan's father began speaking to the media about how she should be stripped of her royal title after appearing on the Ellen show. While she was on the show, she did a number of other things, from talking about what she and Prince Harry did before they were thrust into the spotlight, to presenting an audience member with a $20,000 check because she supported her community by braiding kids' hair. But her father was laser focused on things like a sketch where she was shopping for crystals and performs bizarre acts like chanting while holding the crystal to her head. While speaking with The Sun, retired Hollywood lighting director Thomas Markle said that he winced at his home in Mexico as Meghan went through with the sketches. He told the UK press that his family is embarrassed by her appearance on the Ellen show, and then went on to say, "She insulted the Queen, the royal family, and the British people. She made a complete fool of herself and should lose her title." He also added that he loves his daughter but thought her performance was ridiculous. On top of that though, he also was upset over Meghan's stories about being a struggling actor in Hollywood. While on the show, she told Ellen about going to auditions with a used car and how she would have to climb out of the window just to get out of the car because the doors didn't work properly. However, her father insisted that the car was not a beat up old car and that Meghan actually got a lot of help with starting her career in Hollywood, adding, "She never had to worry about an apartment or spending money. Apparently her father even did a lot of legwork and pulling strings to get her a union card just so that she could find better acting work in Hollywood." He went on to tell The Sun, "I'm disappointed she didn't mention me. I hooked her up with the director on the General Hospital TV show and that got her a couple of lines on one of the shows which got her a union card. It's really difficult to get a job without a card, so that was crucial. I paid for the card too. I've been disappointed all this hasn't been acknowledged." And I don't really think that her doing some wacky things on an American talk show is going to cause her to be stripped of her royal titles, but I do think we haven't heard the last of Thomas Markle. It seems like every time his daughter pops up in the media, he is immediately reaching out to news outlets to give some sort of a statement. Meghan Markle has angered a lot of fans of the royal family after a new film about her and Harry's life featured a scene that was all too familiar from the actual Princess Diana tragedy. A new film that shows Meghan Markle dying underneath an overturned car following a horrific crash scene is sending shockwaves throughout the royal family and their fans. This all happens within their opening scene, and many are saying that it's far too similar to the real life tragedy of the death of Princess Diana. The made-for-TV movie is called Harry and Meghan Escaping the Palace, and it covers a dramatic version of their controversial departure from the royal family. The opening scene is a dream sequence that sees Meghan involved in a car accident just days after the 24th anniversary of Princess Diana's death in Paris. As the car is overturned, she is surrounded by photographers as a desperate Prince Harry pushes his way through them to open the car door. A gravely injured Markle then pleads with him to help her, but the event comes to a full stop as Harry wakes up from the nightmare only to be comforted by his wife and their son Archie. Needless to say, viewers were outraged by this and they were expressing their discontent on Twitter, with one user writing, "This is in bad taste. I don't believe they can make a series like this," with another adding, "The lowest of the low. When will they all stop cashing in on Princess Diana? Let her rest in peace for goodness sakes." The film is said to have been shot in Vancouver, and in the first teaser for the film, it featured several heated discussions between Harry and Meghan's lookalike actors that are recreating this. It will also detail Meghan's growing isolation and sadness that the family was not going to defend them against the press's daily attacks. Along with that, they cover Harry's fear that history would repeat itself and he would not be able to protect his wife and son from the same forces that resulted in his mother's untimely death. Not to mention, it looks like these actors even recreated that infamous Oprah Winfrey interview, so you know they will be trying to keep a steady timeline of events loosely based on reality. British actor Jordan Dean and American actress Sydney Morton take over the roles of Harry and Meghan. And while speaking with Newsweek, Sydney spoke about playing Meghan in the film and said, "Because she is a living, breathing person and I'm playing her pretty much right now in her life, I definitely felt a responsibility to be respectful and very grounded and make her a three-dimensional person and not portray her as this tabloid cartoon." Adding, "I think that it's a different thing when you're playing someone who is alive and experiencing things in real time. You definitely want to approach it with care." In addition to these actors, the Duchess of Cambridge will be played by television actress Laura Mitchell, while Her Majesty will be portrayed by Maggie Sullivan. According to the trailer, they will also be touching on the reported tension between Meghan and Kate's character, who insists that those who marry into the royal family know exactly what they've signed up for. Harry and William's late mother Princess Diana is also featured in a quick trailer, with actress Bonnie Sutter stepping into her shoes. She will be featured in a few flashback scenes, most notably when she publicly announced that she would be stepping back from her public duties in order to take on a more meaningful public role with a more private life. At the time, Diana was quoted as saying, "I was not aware of how overwhelming that attention would become, nor the extent to which it would affect both my public duties and my personal life in a manner that's been hard to bear." During the Oprah interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, a ton of royalty was spilled just all over the place, from conversations surrounding the potential skin color of their child to royal customs that Meghan said she was ignorant to. This interview was certainly one for the books. However, now a claim made by Meghan and Harry has been called into question, and even they admit that they lied about it. According to a report from the Daily Beast, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's confession about having a secret wedding actually never happened. A spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex told the press that the couple did exchange personal vows, but they went on to say that this private event was in no way a legal or official service. However, during that interview with Oprah, Meghan and Harry implied that this private wedding that took place in a garden at Kensington Palace was in fact their legal wedding, even adding that it was presided over by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. The reason why this detail was scandalous to some was that their actual wedding was this massive event that cost British taxpayers money. So to say that they had two weddings really angered those who already didn't like Meghan Markle. During the interview, Meghan said, "3 days before our wedding, we got married. No one knows that. The vows that we have framed in our room are just the two of us in our backyard with the Archbishop of Canterbury." However, now these statements that came from Meghan are now being used as a point of attack for critics of hers, many of which are desperately trying to invalidate everything else that was said about the royal family. Really anything that they deem to be inflammatory or harmful to the monarchy. Following that interview, the attack campaign to discredit began. Officials with the Church of England even casted doubt on the claims of a backyard wedding. According to them, church law says that a wedding isn't legal unless it is witnessed by two people or takes place in a certified place of worship. The Archbishop's office would later tell priest Mark Edwards, "Justin does not do private weddings. Meghan is an American, she does not understand." Adding, "Justin had a private conversation with the couple in the garden about the wedding, but I can assure you no wedding took place until the televised national event." Although Harry and Meghan's defenders are saying that Meghan was simply trying to make a point that their exchange of private vows in the garden was just a way of making things more meaningful and personal. She did specifically say to Oprah that it was between us, so that it wasn't part of the spectacle for the world to see. Unfortunately though, logic and reason is something critics do not bode well with. Once a critic of someone has some ammo like this, they will use it to call into question everything else that was said, regardless of a lack of evidence to support their claims, or rather the fallacy that's being called out. But having no evidence to back your own claim is a bit of a fallacy in and of itself. However, this speculation that the private wedding was not official comes after UK news outlet The Sun obtained a copy of the couple's wedding certificate. Don't know how they swung that, but okay. For which in their opinion proved that Meghan and Harry did not wed 3 days before their $50 million wedding, which is the real crux of why people are so upset right now. I know I mentioned it earlier, but imagine taxpayers dropping money on a wedding and then you get told that there was another secret wedding just days before. Most people's poor logic would then assume that the taxpayers must have also paid for that one as well, and therefore Meghan and Harry are just being ungrateful royals. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to arrive at this sort of thinking, but I understand where the outrage could have stemmed from. Hence this incessant desire to pick through every last detail, searching for something that could even be considered as a lie. You see what they're doing here though, right? They find one occasion where the details are scanty and boom, they will hold that as their bedrock for the idea that Meghan Markle is a liar. It's really messed up, especially considering the gravity of everything else that was said in that interview. Whatever happened to us growing into a society and culture that wanted to protect women? Now we have a woman who is literally asking for help and kindness, but critics are too busy being fanboys of the royal family that they can't see a human being who's being hurt right now. Meghan actually said that the family was indifferent to her mental health. Even after expressing that she felt like taking her own life most days, no one offered help, and even worse, they made her go out on these royal engagements and smile as if nothing was wrong. Well, guess what? Something is wrong, and this antiquated monarchy needs to catch up to 2021, or else they will fall. But I'd love to hear your comments on this story though, so make sure you leave it down below, and if you're getting upset that I'm expressing my opinion, then that's just too bad. This is an entertainment news YouTube channel. I'm a YouTuber, not a journalist. If you want straight facts, no emotion, no opinion, then go read a newspaper.
Following the shocking interview in which Oprah Winfrey sat down with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it seems some of Meghan's family have since come forward with claims of their own. If you've yet to see or hear about Oprah's interview, the pair didn't hold back and spoke on a handful of factors leading to their decision to officially depart from the royal family. These factors include at least one member raising concerns about how dark the skin tone would be of the couple's firstborn. There was also the immense pressure from the British media, on top of the pressure they felt just by being associated with the family. All in all, it seems they decided it wasn't something they wanted their family to be a part of. However, it seems those closest to Meghan, her family, had issues with the interview and have since come forward with claims of their own, in a sense dismissing a lot of what Meghan had to say. For those of you unaware, Meghan has a half-sister named Samantha, who she claimed in the interview with Oprah she barely knows. Samantha, however, seemed to argue that claim and also doesn't feel very sympathetic about her half-sister's struggles. Samantha is set to release a book titled The Diary of Princess Pushy's Sister, in which, to no surprise, many are expecting to learn things about Meghan that, well, we simply don't know. It's going to be a tell-all. When asked about the book in her interview with Oprah, Meghan said, I quote, "I think it would be very hard to tell all when you don't know me. I grew up as an only child. The last time I saw her must have been at least 18 or 19 years ago. And before that, 10 years before that." So then Samantha must just be trying to make some money off of her sister's name, exposing her and all that, right? Well, I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't know. Because speaking with Inside Edition here, Samantha seemed to deny that she barely knows her half-sister and showed photos of the two growing up together. She said, I quote, "I don't know how she could say I don't know her and she was an only child. We've got photographs over a lifespan of us together, so how could she not know me?" Well, things are getting interesting here, folks. One of the photos Samantha shared was a graduation picture from 2008, which shows the two sisters together. This, of course, proves that the two had seen each other within the past 12 years or so, contrary to what Meghan said. Now, maybe that was just one instance that Meghan forgot about. However, other photos show Meghan as a baby, while another shows a potentially preteen Meghan with her sister. Now again, it's only a few photos, but enough to prove that the two sisters have seen each other more than once or twice in the last 20 years. At one point, Meghan also made claims that Samantha only changed her name back to Markle after Meghan got involved with Prince Harry. Meghan claimed Samantha did this simply for publicity reasons, fame, and potentially money. However, again, Samantha denied this claim and shared a court-ordered petition from 1997 showing that Samantha legally changed her first name, however her last name has remained consistent. And when it came to Meghan's struggles mentally, Samantha felt no sympathy, saying, I quote, "Depression is not an excuse for treating people like dish rags and disposing of them." Clearly, Samantha feels Meghan had not only let her down, but was likely also referring to the torn relationship between Meghan and their father Thomas. To no surprise, Thomas has also now come forward and has spoken about the interview and some of the claims made. Again, it seems like there's not much the family sees eye to eye with Meghan. Now, it's important to note Thomas and Meghan haven't been on the best of terms for the last little while, with Meghan even telling Oprah that her father had betrayed her. For those of you unaware, Thomas Markle made a deal with paparazzi and tabloids, giving them information about his daughter and her husband-to-be, and at one point even did a planned photo shoot, which was planned to look candid. The photos of Thomas included him looking at photos of Harry and Meghan in a cafe, getting his suit tailored for the wedding, and reading books. When Meghan asked Thomas about all of the claims, he denied them. However, as we know, eventually he would be exposed. This has since been a massive strain on the pair's relationship, with again Meghan telling Oprah her father had betrayed her. Now Thomas is hitting back, claiming that not only has he apologized 100 times, but her feeling so down is a direct reflection of Harry being a bad partner and husband. Yeah. This is getting serious, folks. While speaking with the Daily Mail, Thomas said, I quote, "It really did upset me. Like I said, it would have been easy for her to reach out to me, any of the rest of the family, who she claims she doesn't know. But the other thing is that I would think that she could turn to her husband." After referencing how his own daughter didn't speak with her husband at the time, Thomas said Harry, I quote, "obviously had not supported her that well." Aside from going at Harry, who he at one point referred to as snotty, Thomas also said, I quote, "The biggest problem here is she pretty much ghosted all of her family." To no surprise, Meghan feels very differently about the entire situation, and now being a mother genuinely finds it even harder to believe and understand how her own father could do what he did. While talking to Oprah, she explained, I quote, "I look at Archie, I think about this child, and I genuinely can't imagine doing anything to intentionally cause pain to my child." Thomas admitted that although he did let his daughter down, she let him down as well. Following his heart surgery about 3 years ago, Thomas claims Meghan had cut him off. He went on to say, I quote, "The bottom line is she didn't lose me. She made a statement saying she lost me. She didn't lose me. I would have always been there for her. I'm there for her now if she wants me." Speaking about his last phone call with Harry following his heart surgery, which dates back to 2018, Thomas said, "Harry had said to me, if you had listened to me, this wouldn't have happened to you. Me, laying in a hospital bed after having a procedure, I had a stent put here, and that was kind of snotty, so I hung up on him." Of course, they also spoke on the whole controversy about asking the color of the unborn baby's skin, to which Thomas seems to be siding with the royals over his own daughter. Although it's unclear who raised questions or concerns, Oprah has since gone on to say it wasn't the Queen or Prince Philip. That being said, Thomas doesn't think it was meant to be offensive at all. He said, I quote, "I don't think the British royal family are racist at all. I don't think the British are racist. I think Los Angeles is racist, California is racist, but I don't think the Brits are. The thing about what color will the baby be or how dark will the baby be, I'm guessing and hoping it's just a dumb question from somebody. It could just be that simple, rather than being a total racist." He went on to explain that if it was a racist comment, they should definitely look into it, but he thinks it may have just been a dumb question from someone who genuinely wanted to know. I quote him saying, "You know, someone who doesn't understand a black person marries a white person, what do you get? You know? You never know, but you get a baby. That's what you get. You get a baby." Maybe we're getting a little too political. However, with all that being said, it seems Thomas truly does want to put the past behind him and move on. I don't know why he'd make these claims, seemingly pushing himself further away from Meghan, Harry, and Archie, but he did what he felt he had to do, I guess. To end things off, Thomas did apologize again, asking for Meghan to reconcile. I quote him saying, "I'd like to say again, I'm sorry for what I've done. This was 2 years ago, but I've tried to make it up to her. I'm now only 70 miles away. I've never stopped loving her. I don't agree with all the things that my children do, but I will always love them. And I certainly love Meghan." Following the wild interview that aired on March 7th with Oprah Winfrey sitting down with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, social media was flooded with hot takes. Some went as far as trying to cancel the entire royal family on Twitter, while others were simply showing their support and empathy for Meghan, who openly admitted to struggling with being under the intense pressure of being a royal. Over the course of the interview, the two spoke about some incredibly shocking things, including concerns some of the royal family had as to how dark the skin color of their firstborn, Archie, would be. It seems aside from that, a handful of factors went into the couple's departure. Now, obviously, aside from the fact that, you know, it's like very off-putting when someone from the family raised concerns about their unborn child's skin tone, there were a handful of other reasons as to why the two made their decision. After announcing their decision to step down back in January of 2020, the last year or so has seen a lot of what's happened unravel right before our eyes. Although the two have appeared on other shows to speak about what's going on, most notably Harry being on James Corden's Late Late Show, it seems this interview with Oprah was the tell-all that was necessary for the general public to understand what's really going on behind closed doors. Over the course of the interview, the two touched on a handful of issues they had, but it seems one of the biggest factors pushing Harry to ultimately leave the royal family would be his late mother Diana. Now, Harry has stated he's still family. The Queen has also stated the same. With that being said, there wasn't a halfway out the door option. It was either all or nothing, and the family chose nothing. Going back to Harry's mother, Diana, who was killed in a car crash while paparazzi chased her car, it seems Harry was fearful that history would repeat itself. For those of you unaware, Princess Diana was married to Prince Charles and gave birth to Harry and William. Diana and Charles would split, and the two would go their separate ways, with Diana still being a very prominent figure in the media and the world, even though she was technically no longer a part of the royal family. However, the year following their divorce, Diana, her partner at the time, Dottie Fayed, and the car's driver, Henry Paul, all died in a car accident while the driver was trying to flee from paparazzi chasing them. And it seems when asked what his mother would think of his current situation, Harry reflected and admitted she's one of the main reasons he decided to step away from the family in the first place. He explained, I quote, "Touching back on when you asked me what my mom would think of this, I think she saw it coming, and I felt her presence throughout this whole process. For me, I'm just really relieved and happy to be sitting here with you, with my wife by my side, because I can't begin to imagine what it must have been like for her to go through this process by herself all those years ago. My biggest concern was history repeating itself." Although Harry saw a lot of similarities between his mother's situation and Meghan's, he felt that his wife's situation was escalated due to racial tensions and social media. In a previous interview with James Corden, Harry would admit that the media did push him away, explaining, I quote, "We all know what the British press can be like, and it was destroying my mental health. I was like, this is toxic, so I did what any husband and what any father would do." However, it wasn't just his own mental health that was being negatively affected. If you've seen the interview with Oprah, then you know the struggles Meghan was dealing with as well. As I previously touched on, at one point, Harry was worried that his wife would end up with the same fate of his late mother, passing at a young age due to the pressures of the media. Now, whether it be from physically trying to escape them or the mental toll it takes on a person, that was simply not a chance Harry was willing to take. And although Harry admitted to the media being toxic and affecting him, it seems Meghan really got the worst of it, leading to some pretty scary thoughts. At one time, Meghan was at such a low point, she was even thinking about taking her own life. Speaking Speaking with Oprah, she explained, I quote, "I didn't know who to even turn to in that. And one of the people that I reached out to, who has continued to be a friend and a confidant, was one of my husband's mom's best friends. One of Diana's best friends. Because it's like, who else could understand what it's actually like on the inside?" I think it's quite clear based on the interviews and information that has been coming out on a regular basis that being part of the royal family is more than just family. As they put it themselves, there's the family side of things, then the enterprise, or firm as other sources have referred to it. Just like anything, it seems the royal family, whether it be their many endeavors or the brand itself, has very strict rules and codes of conduct, just like any other business. And it seems over the years, Harry and Meghan made the decision that this business is not one they want to be a part of, nor one they want their new family to be a part of. Although there was likely a handful of issues and reasons that led to their decision, it seems one of the main factors for them leaving is Harry fearing for his family's life and safety. And although I don't have any children or a wife of my own, I could wholeheartedly say there's nothing I respect more than that decision.